Do you find it hard and frustrating to share an image or a URL in your iOS apps? Well, fear not. Hit that subscribe button because in this video we are going to tackle that with the help of UIActivityViewController. So let's build out this share functionality that we will use with one single line of code. We are going to share an image and as easily we are going to share a URL also. But before we do that, let me just remind you that I have created a new coding accelerator. It's called Dev Factory. You can find it at rebeloper.com/mentoring. Now, if you have any issues with your code or if you have any questions regarding iOS, Swift, Swift UI, Firebase, go ahead and apply now. Now, in this tutorial, we are going to build out the Xcode project from scratch. And for that, for time reasons, we are going to build it out with the help of Spark UI. Now, Spark UI is my own framework that I built out, and we will build out this UI as fast as possible. Go ahead and check out Spark UI. So let's just jump right into it and let's create a brand new Xcode project here. So open up Xcode, click on Create New Project, and let me just resize this real quick. And we will be off to the races. Now, choose single view application, click on next here, and let's call this Spark Activity Controller. Choose Swift and choose Storyboard because we are going to use UIKit and not Swift UI. Okay, drop it wherever it's convenient for you on your computer. Now let me just resize this a little bit. And first things first, I always get rid of the main.storyboard. So hey, now you will learn how to get rid of the main.storyboard if you're interested, of course. So first thing, let's delete the actual file and then go to your target. And under main interface, just delete main from there and click return or just tap away, whatever. And then let's go to info. And this will be a long path, so let me just show you. Application scene manifest, scene configuration, application session role, item 0, and you will see storyboard name there, and the value is main. Now, it's not enough to remove the value. You need to remove the whole key value pair, so let's click on this minus button that appeared right over there, okay? And now, all we have to do is, now we decouple the main.storyboard. Now we have, and that was of course with alliance with the view controller named UIViewController. Now we need to present this programmatically. So what we are going to do is go in scene delegate, and as you can see, we have this scene will connect to session with options. And we have this UI window scene created here. And this underscore means that we are not using this. We are creating it. We are going to let unwrapping it, of course, but we are not using it, but we will use it. So let's create it right over here. So instead of this underscore, let's just type in here window scene. And now that we do have our window scene, let's use it. And basically what we are going to do is create, well, associate the window. Well, basically initialize the window with our window scene. So let's do that first. So window equals UI window. And you will see that in the completion, we have something with initialization with a window scene. So we are going to choose that window scene. Now we have to add the root view controller as usual. So window.root view controller equals our view controller. Now this was created automatically with the template, so it's just fine for us. And finally, as a last step, we need to make this window key and visible, and that's that. So let's just check this out before. Yeah, if we launch this, we would have just a simple white background, but let's just have a color for that. So view.background color equals, let's say, system teal. Okay, that will be fine. We will see a color change So that's that. Now all we have to do is select our iPhone, and let's just build and run and see how all of this looks like. Okay, let's unlock my device here. And we should see that background appear right now. And we do have that. Hooray! Now we have uncoupled the main.storyboard. Okay, now I want to share an image here. And for that, I'm just going to present a UI image view, which will load the image that we will have in the assets. And I need a button so that I can pop up the share activity controller that we are going to build out. So first things first, we are going to import Spark UI. So to do that, because with Spark UI, building iOS apps is very, very fast, and you will see in just a moment. So go ahead and on the repository, click on clone or download, and click on this copy URL icon. Now let's go back to Xcode and select your project and go to Swift packages and click on this plus sign. Okay, now let's just add that, so paste that in there, click on next, and this will verify. Now, as you can see, this is still in kind of its early stages, but I have already used this in 2 production apps for my clients, so rest assured, it is working as expected. Well, some breaking changes may occur, but nothing too extraordinary. So click on next there and click on finished. And as you can see, it downloaded. Now this will depend on your internet connection and if you have already used Spark UI, but it will download actually Spark UI and the associated packages that Spark UI uses. Now there are quite a few there and you can go ahead and take a look at them. But yeah, let's just move on with the tutorial. So in ViewController, let's just hit Command B so we know that build has succeeded, and yes, that is the case. So let's just import Spark UI first of all. Import Spark UI. Yeah, it's working. That is perfectly fine. So what first I will do is just go ahead and instead of adhering to the UIViewController, I will just adhere to the SViewController. So there we go, SViewController. Now SViewController is just a fancy UI view controller that Spark UI uses. Let me just quickly jump into it. As you can see, we have HUD, a safe area, container, some helper files. What you need to know here is that we have a container that is actually the inside our view controllers, UI view controllers view. And finally, we have some background color layout views that we are going to use and observe. Okay, so let's just do that. Let's just delete our background color and let's just use the layout views. So let's just type in super layout views and observe and super observe. Now these two are called in the view did load of our SViewControllers, so you don't even have to call them. Now, why am I doing this? Because in the layout views we are going to lay out the views, and in the observe we are going to observe for tabs. Now, for that to actually work, we need to import 2 more libraries here, and all of these two are imported, like they are the packages that are also added with Spark UI. So let's import ReactiveKit and let's import Layoutless. ReactiveKit is for observing the tabs, and Layoutless is for laying out views really quickly. Now that we have that out of the way, let's create our image view, and that will be super fast with Spark UI. If you just type this away, most of the time that passes here is just me explaining. Now this just typing away, it's super fast and simple. So let image view, and that will be a UI image view. There we go. And I'm not going to instantiate it with the initializers that UIKit provides. I'm just going to have this set image. How awesome is that? And there is an image named. Okay, now we need an image. And for that, just click on the resources link down below and you will be taken to the whole library of resources that I use on my YouTube channel, and just scroll all the way down to the today's date and you will find the resources, and they will look something like this. Let me just go here. An image with a coffee and UI window plus. So let's just go to assets and drag and drop the coffee. Now again, you could use your very own if you wanted to, but this UI window plus will be used just later on. So let me just drag and drop it right over here. There we go. Let's click on finish. I will talk about this in just a sec. Okay, let's go back. Here we have our set image and let's just use coffee here. And this will set the image. How quick and awesome is that? Now, finally, I want to set a height because as a default, we don't have actually a frame for an UI image view. So we are just going to use a height for now. So just start typing height and you will see that it is returning a UI image view. You can't really see that because of my face, but it will return a UI image view. So height, and let's set this to 200 maybe. And finally, what I want to do is mask to bounce. So masks to bounce. And that is basically it for what I want to have on this UI image view. And as you can see, it's really readable. It has this dot syntax, really nice. So let's lay out this image view. So think of this layout as a stack. On top, we will have our image view, then the button, and then some empty space that will kind of push everything up to the top. So that is really simple to do with Spark UI. And of course, layoutless. The whole power here is layoutless. So go into the layout views and just start typing stack and choose the one with the axis. And let's just have this as a vertical and add these two parentheses. And a filling parent is okay because we are going to fill the container with these views. And this will be layout in our container. Again, container is the view that is inside our ViewController's view. It's the mouthful, I know. So here we're just going to list out what kind of views we want. So first of all, we want this image view. And finally, because we want to push everything up, we want to have an empty view there. And conveniently, we have a UI view called Spacer in Spark UI. So that's that. Let's just build and run and see if we do get our image view pushed all the way up and presented on our first view there. And there we go. We have our image there. How awesome is that? And with just a few lines of code. Again, I'm just talking here. That's why it takes so long. So let's real quickly add our button. Let's say share button equals UI button. And again, real quickly with this dot syntax, I will just add our text and let that be share. And let's add real quickly a color. And that is system blue. Let's see, system blue, there we go. Let's set this to bold. And basically, that's it. That should be enough. Again, this is with the power of Spark UI. Go ahead and take a look at it on the GitHub repository. By the way, the GitHub repository link is also on the description, on the resources that you will find on the site. So let's add our share button. So, if you are coming from UIKit land, you know that building this out doesn't take these 15 or 20 seconds that I just made this. So let's just take a look at it. And there we go. Here we have our share button. Now, maybe I want to have some spacing just for fun here. And let's add here some spacing of 15 pixels. Okay. Now, what I want to do here is go ahead and listen if the share button was tapped. Now we could add here a target. Now that is also supported by SparkUI, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to use the awesome powers of ReactiveKit, and I'm going to listen for taps on this button, and I'm just going to observe. That's how it's called. So share button dot, and you need to type in here reactive, there we go, and tap dot observe next. So we are going to observe the next tap, and here we have a completion, so let's hit return there. We're not going to use any self in this case, and if you are coming from reactive programming, you also know that these observables needs to be disposed in a bag. Now, if you are not familiar with reactive programming, just know that if you go share button dot reactive tap, you are just going to observe the next event and do whatever you want inside these two parentheses, and dispose it in a bag, which is also conveniently available here. So let's just print out for now tapped. Okay, let's hit Command R and see how that looks like. And let me just unlock my phone again, and we should see the log tapped. And as you can see, there it is. Really nice. Let me just move this all the way to the left. Okay, so now here comes the magic part and what you have been waiting for in this tutorial, and that is sharing that image. So for that, we are going to create a struct, and I will call it Spark Activity Controller. Now inside SparkUI it's called Activity Controller, so you can use it right off the bat. But because of this tutorial, we are going to dive deep, and we are just going to construct what is also already inside SparkUI. So I'm just going to do it right over here. You could just open up a new file if you wanted to. So let's create our struct here. So struct, there we go. Now I will just name it Spark Activity Controller. There we go. And here I'm just going to create a static function. Well, first of all, to share that image, and real quickly we are going to finish off this tutorial by creating a share functionality to share URLs also. Let's just stop this. And there we go. Static func and share. And what do I want to share? Basically, we want to share this image, but we also want to have a title and some sort of message that we want to share. Because, yeah, why not? Let's say we want to share it in an email. We want to have that as a subject, or, yeah, whatever. So this share must have a title as a string. So title, string, a message, also as a string, and an image, of course. And that will be a UI image. There we go. Okay, so now that we have our title, message, and image, it's time to kind of construct the elements so we can use the UIActivityViewController to be shown. So first things, let's take care of this message, because when this message is added to the list of objects that we want, first of all, we have this title, and then we will have this message. So let's just build that out, our array of objects to share. So let's say objects to share, and that will be an array, not this type of parentheses, but this type of parentheses. So the array will be our title, our message, and our image. And while we are at it, let's just have a rendering mode with a rendering mode of always original, because, yeah, we don't want this to be as a template. So, yeah, that's really nice to have. And let's fix this issue as any, because, yeah, we have strings and the UI image, so this array needs to be as any. So whenever we share these objects, the title, and then comes the message, and yeah, you want to have this new line before the message. So I'm just going to format this message. So let formatted message, and that will be, let's just add in here a new line. If you don't know, this is how we can add a new line to a string, and let's add in here the message. So there we go, formatted message. Let's just copy that out and paste it in there. Now that takes care of that. Now it's time to create the actual activity view controller. So let's just scroll a little bit up so you can see better. Maybe let's just remove this. Yeah, looks really, really nice. So let activity view controller. There we go. And that will be a UI activity view controller. There we go. And if we start typing the initializer, if we start, we will see that there is an activity items and application activities. Now, the activity items are these objects to share, and application activities, let's just leave this to near. We are not going to use them. Now, one thing that we want to add for our activity view controller is the option to be shared, of course, via email, and we want the title to actually be the subject of our email, and that is really simple to do. Let's just select our activity controller and set the value, and now here the value is basically the title, and the key is subject with a capital X. Now make sure that you type this out correctly, because otherwise it won't work. Now we want to present this on our view controller, and as you can see, I hadn't added any view controller properties for this function. Now that is because there might come any circumstances where you don't have access to your view controller. Let's say you are in a cell and you want to present something. Now we are going to grab the topmost view controller, and I already have a video on this. Go ahead and search the channel, but actually we have dragged this in our project UI window plus. Now this will grab the visible view controller. On that video I explain everything, how all of this works, but now we are just going to grab our visible view controller. So let's do that. So, and that is an optional, of course. So we are going to if let unwrap it. So if let me just make some room here. So visible. So visible view controller equals visible view controller. And as you can see, it's an optional. So now that we do have our visible view controller, we are going to present the activity view controller on it. And that is real simple to do. Visible view controller dot present this view controller, and that is the activity view controller animated true and completion nil. Okay, now that is really nice, and that will work. And if we would just build and run right now, it will work perfectly. But if you are testing on an iPad, and this should also work, of course, on an iPad, we need to do one extra thing here, and that is we need to set the source view of our popover presentation controller. That's how it is called. So let's just do that. Let me just type this out. So activity view controller popover presentation controller dot source view equals, and that will be our visible view controller's view. Yeah, that is correct. Now this is an extra step for iPad. I know it needs to be done. Okay, so basically that is it. Let me just build and run and see how this looks like. And of course I'm testing this on my actual device because we have a lot more options available on a real device. So oh, I didn't connect this function with the actual tab. So let's just go here and Spark activity controller dot share, and let's add a title here, sharing, maybe sharing with a capital S, and the message, this is my image, and the image should be our image views image, but that is, I do know that that is an optional, so let's guard and unwrap that image. So guard let image equals image view dot image else returned. So if we don't have anything to have for an image, let's just return, and we need to add in here a self as well. Okay, and let's just add in here our guard let unwrapped image. Let's start to build and run, and let's see how this looks like. Okay, let's tap on share, and as you can see, the activity control just popped up, and let's have this as a mail. And yeah, there we go. We have a subject of sharing, a title of sharing. This is my image as the message and the actual image. How awesome is that? Now let's just delete this. I don't really care if I save this. And finally, as a nice touch today, let's just do the same to have a URL being shared. Okay, so basically we are going to do kind of the same. So let's just copy and paste this there, and let's do what we actually want to change. So URL, and that will be a URL. Okay, now we have this as a missing, so let's just go in here and just type in here URL. And by the way, Spark UI has all of this, and it has a completion for this URL, but yeah, I don't really care for now. And let's just copy this out, and let me just comment this out and have this URL there. And now let's create a URL. So let URL equals let's see, URL, and with a string, why not? And let me just go ahead and copy this Rebeloper mentoring out. So go ahead and type that in. There we go. And I believe we need to guard if let unwrap this. You could use guard let also, but I really prefer if let in these kind of cases. And the URL should be added for that URL. And this is my URL. Okay, one final step is to build and run, and let's see if all of this actually works. There we go. Let's unlock this. Again, now the image doesn't really matter here. Let's go here. As you can see, there is my URL, rebeloper.com/mentoring. Now, if you did like this video about how to share, how simply it is to share with this activity controller that we have created, go ahead and smash that like button. It really helps with the algorithm. And if you want to even dive deeper, go ahead and take a look at Spark UI. So now you know how you can share images, URLs, or whatever in your iOS apps with the help of the UIActivityViewController. Now I want you to hit that notification bell, because in the next video we are going to talk about how you can present a UI alert controller. That's right, we are going to show some alerts in the next video. While you wait for that, make sure to check out these videos as well too. I talk a lot about Swift UI, Swift in general, iOS development. And as usual, I will see you in the next one.